Welcome back to CryptoBanter.com. This is a station that brings you live real-time trading information because we know that traders need live information to make better trading decisions. You know what? Traders also need to know how to have or to use tools to make better trading decisions. And that's why we've done this show for you guys today. Today, effectively, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to set up your trading view so that you can chart like the masters. Yep, I have had a lot of requests, and even I want to know how to set up my trading view so that I can chart like Coach K. I'm fascinated by the charts. I have access to all the same tools as do you. But the question is, can we use them? And I guess that is what today is about. So if you are watching us on YouTube, give us some love. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because that's how we get more distribution of our content. And we need people to get our content so that we can grow crypto media, so that we can grow your crypto bags. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button and press all. And the reason why you're hitting that bell button is because that will bring you an alert every time that I'm live on air. And given what's going on in the crypto world today, I'm live on air a lot. Every time something happens, I'm coming to you live. On Sunday, I did an emergency broadcast because some news broke. Today, I'm doing a second broadcast because I want to bring you guys real-time information. And specifically, I want to teach you guys how to use TradingView and how to become charting masters. This is the first part of the course, or the first part of what we're going to teach you guys, and we're going to make you masters by the end of the week. So I'm joined on the show by Coach K. Now, those of you who don't know Joel or Coach K, he's a teacher or an ex-teacher, and his passion is teaching people how to become financially free, and specifically in the crypto game. Coach K is the master. I use him on my show all the time. But today, it's a very different kind of show. In fact, today we're going to take you back to basics, Coach. And I know you love the basics. But today, I want you to teach us how to chart. Because you know what happens to me? I go onto TradingView, and I arrive there at this very intimidating screen. In fact, I'm going to go there so that you can see what I'm looking at. So I get to TradingView. I want to share my screen because I want to show you how intimidating this is for a new person in the space. And then you're going to teach me how to actually chart. So I get to TradingView, and it looks like this. And the first thing I do is I go there and I say BTC USD, and it now gives me 100 things, and I have no idea what they mean. Well, I didn't have, but now, of course, I do know. And I click on that, and then I get this new screen which says full featured chart, and I click on full featured chart. And now I get this very complicated chart. And my charts don't look like your charts. I want to do the 200-day moving average. I want to remove these grid lines. I want to be able to draw on the chart. And I've got no idea where to start. And that's what I want you to teach us right here today. We want to learn from the master exactly how to chart. So I'm going to get rid of my screen, and let's get your screen onto the stream.
I put my screen on vanilla today, so you're not going to see very much. But that's the way to start. So basically, you guys have probably watched me before. You're like, well, your screen's always dark. Why is it light? So the first thing is you have to figure out, do you like watching the screen is very bright colored, or do you like it dark? And I mean, you have a panel right here at the top, and it's as simple as just choosing dark color. So if you like dark color, you pick on dark color. If you like light color, you just turn that off. So that's the first thing. A lot of people ask me, like, how do I get dark color? Like, my eyes hurt when I look at the white screen. I do it at nighttime when my wife's sleeping or whatever. So that's what you do to get started at the very vanilla stage, okay?
I know you prefer dark, and so do I, but for the screen resolution on today's show, let's keep it on white, and let's chart with it on light.
I'm going to show you guys a bunch of really cool tools. Like, some people ask me, hey, coach, how do you make your candlesticks different colors? Usually they're red and they're green. You make yours white and blue. And I get this question a lot. And so also, like, how do I get rid of the grid lines in the back area or add on indicators? Like, how do you have all those really cool clouds in there? So I'm going to show you guys how to do all of that, and then how to use this panel of tools on the left-hand side, and how to actually make your own panel down here so that you don't have to always go and find which one you want. So these things will save you time, and obviously, makes your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to
go onto my trading view now, and I'm actually going to follow exactly what you're doing. So let's start at the beginning. When you log into TradingView, the first thing it asks you, what do you want to chart? And let's look at an example where you want to chart BTC USD. So if you could take us one screen back, show us the entry point, show us how to get into a reliable chart.
Oh, so just like how to find one?
So first of all, go out of the charts and let's go into TradingView as if you've just landed and it's asking you, what do you want to chart?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, all right, let's do that. All right, so I've just landed on TradingView. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of information. You're probably like overwhelmed. The first time you ever used it, I remember the first time I used TradingView, I was like, oh my God, what is all this stuff, right? Yeah, that's normal. Don't feel overwhelmed.
Let's say that I want to chart BTC USD. So you go to the ticker symbol, and I'm assuming you put in BTC USD.
Yeah, you can do it this way. You can write BTC USD. And the thing is, if you can't find Bitcoin right here on the top, you have stocks, futures, Forex, CFDs, contract for difference is what it means, crypto, indexes, and economy. So if you can't find crypto, you can click on crypto and it only shows you crypto. So that's a little trick to the trade. And then the question is, where do you trade, right? The question that a lot of people say, well, there's so many Bitcoin tickers. Which one should I choose? Well, do you trade on Binance? Well, if you trade on Binance, look for the Binance ticker. If you trade on Coinbase, look for the Coinbase ticker. So obviously the reason why you choose the one that is where you're trading is because there's a little bit of a price difference on every exchange because people are buying and selling all the time. So you want the one that's your exchange, so you're not buying $3 or $4 or $5 or $10 higher on one exchange to the other. So that's really important. So the first thing is which one.
I've done that. Let's have a look, and that is what I'm seeing on my screen. I've now got this. I've got this this picture. Tell me what happens next.
Okay, so now you've gone in, you got your chart open, and so you're like, all right, I got this open. What do I do? Okay, so the first thing you have to do is be like, okay, how do I want my chart to look? Because honestly, that's really important for a lot of people. This may not work for you. White with green and red may not be appealing. So how do I change all this stuff in the background before I get started? Because I think it's really important to feel comfortable with what you're looking at. And it's as simple as you click on your right click button and you'll have a bunch of stuff, right? Just go to settings like you would on your phone and click on that. So now you have a bunch of stuff here. You have symbols and status lines. It's really confusing. But all you really care about right now is how does it look in the background? So you have vertical lines. You have horizontal lines. You can change those colors very easily by clicking here and choosing the opacity. So you can make them more green or more pink if you like pink, right? So this is stuff that you can add in. Or let's say you really don't like the lines in the background. You can take it completely out by just clicking on them and moving it all the way to the left. Then you can have a really, what we would call in crypto or trading, a clean chart, okay? So that's how easy that is. And then we can look at other areas, but we can also actually change the color of the background. So as you see, like it's a solid and it's white. I could change this to yellow or green or any color you like. So this is stuff that I think a lot of people like. So when people say, how do you get your chart to be dark in the background? You can do it just like that. Very simple and easy. And then you may want to have a little bit of color on your chart in the background to see a little bit of those lines because it can help you a little bit. So you put in a little bit of those color, those lines in a little bit, and then you can have that in the background. So that's one way to do it. There is no right or wrong way. Yeah.
How would you make your lines thicker? Because when I look at my chart, it looks like my line is very thin relative to your line.
Yep. So you see this little line right here? You can't, I don't really think you would make it thicker actually, to be honest, because it's on the axis, right? You're using what's it called? Like an XY axis. So you don't want to make it thicker because then if you go and you're looking at the chart, it'll actually show you like the price. It'd be off. I've never actually made mine thicker, to be honest. I don't think you would need to. You can dash the line, you can dot the line, but I've never actually done that, Ran. I've never made my lines thicker. I didn't think I needed to.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the chart. We've plotted the colors. You've made it black at the back. Maybe just return it to white.
We're going to turn it to white.
And now you mentioned to us that you could change the color of your candles. Where would you change the color of your candles? And also tell us what the significance of candles actually is in a chart.
Of course, absolutely. So first, we'll just look at how do we change the candles. Well, it's very simple. Look for the thing that looks like a candle. Click on that. And then we have the body, the wick, and the borders. So let's just zoom in pretty close here. So the body of the candle is basically the open to the close. What it means This is going to be kind of confusing for a lot of people, Rand. I don't want to get too into it. But basically, when a candle opens and it's green, it opens at the bottom of the candle and closes at the top. That means it's bullish candle, right? And if it's red, it opened at the top of the candle and closed at the bottom. We have wicks. So if you guys have ever heard of like those wicks that we talk about with BitMEX getting wicked out of position, that's when basically the market moves really, really fast in one direction and then moves in the other direction really quickly by the time that closes. And what I mean by closes is this candle, if it's on a day candle, in that day, Bitcoin moved from $8,411 all the way up to $9,473. But it opened up here at 8,800 and it closed all the way down here at 8,600. So that's a little bit confusing. I mean, candlesticks patterns take a long time for many people to learn, but you need to learn this to be an effective trader. So it's something that I would recommend you guys really take time and learn how to do. It's not something you're going to learn overnight.
I think for the purposes of today, let's keep the up candles green and let's keep the down candles red. I know that's not your normal style, but I think the tradition.
No, I just want to show you guys how to change it. Like, it's really simple. You come in here, there's colors there. You like the greens to keep it green. If you like it yellow, you turn it yellow, and you turn it yellow, and you turn it yellow. So you can do that if you like. You don't have to. I'm just showing you how you can do that. Okay, so that's all you need to know really with this part. I mean, changing the background, changing the colors of your candlesticks are mainly what you're going to use in the appearance side of things. So now you're kind of like, all right, I like red, I like green. I have some grid lines because it tells me, okay, when I see this line, it's 11,000 and 12,000 and 13,000. So those are good to have. Maybe you don't like them as bright and big in the background, but you choose what works for you best. Okay, so that's the starting point. Yeah.
Now, if I look at the top, you've got a 1 minute, a 5 minute, a 10 minute, a 15 minute, a 20 minute, a 30 minute. Explain to our viewers what the difference is between a 1 minute chart, a 10-minute chart, and a 30-minute chart.
Okay, so 1 minute basically means that each of those candlesticks that are not showing for some reason right now. Hold on. Okay, so each of these candlesticks are 1 minute. So all the action up to down is happening in a minute. So in this 1 minute, the candle went from 34,880 to $34,740. Okay, so that happens in 1 minute. The problem with trading on 1 minute candles, guys, might as well just call them wrecked candles, because if you're trading on 1 minute and you're not a bot, you're going to get wrecked. Okay, don't trade on really low time frames if you're not a professional trader. And almost every fund, every single like hedge fund institution, if they're using these time frames, it's with a trading system. They're not doing it manually, so don't do it manually. Don't try to beat them. You're going to get wrecked, seriously. So
I want to caution our viewers and say the following. Sometimes you can get very drastic red and green candles in a 5 minute or a 10 minute or even a 30 minute. But when you click on the 1 day chart, those don't even exist, because that 1 day chart actually takes you through to the opening for the day and the closing for the day. And if the opening was lower than the closing, then you're getting a green candle up. So it's very important that sometimes you can miss a whole correction because you're looking at a different chart. If you're looking at the 1 hour chart, and now Bitcoin goes down, and in the next hour it goes back to the same level, you're not going to see that on the 1 hour chart.
No. Here's the thing. Trading is a lot more. Okay, when I played American football, right, they used to say like, oh, it's not about all the physical, it's the mental, right? It's like, it's really a mental game. Well, trading is very much like being an athlete, right? Like it's a mental game. People are doing these things to mess with your head, to make you guys look like the memes you see in crypto groups, the GIFs that you see in crypto groups. So you go on a 15-minute chart, it might seem like a great idea, but if you're not an experienced trader, this stuff where it happens up and down, this little quick movement, you're going to be scared. You're going to get emotional. You're going to make mistakes a lot more often. The market's going to tell you it's going up, but then it's going to start going down like it does here. So while you think you're making it a great move and it's going higher, then all of a sudden you don't look for a bit and it's down all the way, where you entered. So it's more of an emotional thing. Yeah. Coach,
can I say that if you're day trading, you should probably be looking at the 5, 10, 30-minute chart. And if you are not day trading, if you're trading longer periods, and a 1 hour chart or a 4 hour chart, maybe even better.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a new trader, I always tell everyone, first start at the weekly, see what's going on in a whole week. So this is a whole entire week candle, right? It's a lot more information. That's 7 full days of what's happening in the market. right? And then we can go to like a daily chart that tells us every day what happened in that day. So you can see this candlestick right here, or the ones we've had recently where they dropped all the way down to 30,000 from 38,000. If you're watching this on a minute or a 5-minute candle, you're going to go in and you're going to get scared. You're going to exit because you see the market falling so quickly. And what I mean by that is even on an hourly, you can see that falling super quickly, and that will scare you. But on a daily chart or a 2-day chart, you won't be so scared. So you make less emotional decisions. So always start with high time frame if you're a new trader. And honestly, guys, if you've watched me and when I've done stuff on Rand Show, I never go under 4 hours. It's just not what a manual trader does. Some guys are really good at it. Personally, I'm a very high time frame, high success trader. That works better for me. So you find what works for you.
All right, amazing. Now, let's say that I wanted to review the chart of Bitcoin USD of 2017 December to January. How would I call up, or how would I tell TradingView that actually what I want to see is I want to see a historical date which starts at date X and ends at day Y?
No, that's sorry. So I generally just look on the chart. I really don't need to go and type it in anywhere. I've never really used that feature just because it's as simple as going on the chart and looking back. So it's not something I use, Rand. If you want to show people if you used that before, you can.
If you go to the bottom of your screen and you look at the 1 day, 5 day, 1 month, you can actually enter a custom date, and that's at the bottom over there. You can enter a custom date, and the chart.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we could do that. We can go in here and say, all right, I want to see, what happened on August 13th of 2020, and it will, show me what happened, even though, hold on a second. There we go. August 13th, 2020. Right. So we can see that. But in general, guys, like if you're using a daily chart, you can just scroll back I find this is a much more valuable tool if you're using Forex or you're checking out like long-term stocks, because there's a lot more information. But yeah, I'm really not that, if I want to go back, I click on a weekly chart personally, and then I just go and say, okay, well, here's 2021, here's 2016. Very easy to go and find that information. You can also, I'm going to show you guys something. So you see how I have my own time frames plotted out. You don't see a 2 hour. Some people use 2 hours. So you're like, okay, how do I choose which time frame? It's very easy. You literally can choose which time frame you want to see and not see on there. So let's say I want to see the monthly time frame. I can click and add it to my favorites, and it's going to go onto the top. So let's just deselect all of these. I'm going to show you what it does, and then we'll reselect them after. Okay,
Coach,
so
I have to show you because I'm trying to do the same thing on my screen. I want to show you my screen. So that's what my screen looks like. I don't have the option to select different time. I've got the 1 minute over here, as you can see, where my cursor is, and I don't have the option to expand it so I can look at it. Let's add that. Oh, there we go. So if I just click the stars, then of course it adds them. Okay, got it.
Okay. So yeah, what you want to do now, I only have like on mine, I only have 1 minute, and it shows the current chart of a weekly. So what you want to do, like I pretty much don't ever use the 1 minute, so I should probably take that off. Now you get into here and you're like, all right, I see the one chart that I'm looking at. Which ones do I want to choose? So this is great because you can be like, all right, I want to see the 5 minute, the 15 minute. I like the 30-minute chart sometimes, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 4 hour, the 8 hour. You can choose the daily, the 3-day chart, and the weekly and the monthly. All I've done now is just when I click off of this, I can actually find all those at the top. So now every time I come back, because TradingView is awesome, and if you paid for your membership, it will remember you, right? So you go log in, it will always be like that. So you never have to really go and find it again. I actually also like the 12 hours, so I'm going to throw that there too. So that's it. It's there, and we can, then we have the chart set up, and now we know, okay, we've got time frames, which is important, how the chart looks, and that's really important. So now the question is like, how do I use all this stuff that TradingView has? So you see people add in all these indicators or modify indicators or add volume. Where do I do all that stuff? So before we get into like the confusing tools per se, let's just show you how to add an indicator. Okay, so make it really, really easy. So right here it says FX, it says indicators and strategies. All you have to do is click on the down button, and I can find all the different, I've made these my favorites. So these are all my favorite indicators that I've chose. But you're like, how do you do that? So I can click on here and I can find literally any indicator I want. So
and
what you guys can,
thousands and thousands and thousands of indicators.
So many.
What indicators that we should be looking at as beginner chartists?
Beginner chartists really only need, you know, RSI, Bollinger Bands. So you can click on Bollinger Bands. You know, you can go and find RSI, which is the relative strength. Hold on. Let me just find that relative strength index. And what else you can do is you can star those so that they'll show up in that down button. So if you only want like 5 or 6 that you like, it'll show up right there. You don't have to go and find them again in this whole, because there's tons and tons of indicators you can find. So you can put on RSI, you just click on them. And if you want to keep them there, it's as simple as just, if I like Bollinger Bands, clicking on that star again. So now I've done that, and what you can see is I have Bollinger Bands.
What are the Bollinger Bands? What are the Bollinger Bands telling you? So why would you click Bollinger Bands?
Well, basically, Bollinger Bands kind of tell you when, like, you know, there's the market's quite bullish. So if we're above the Bollinger Band, which we had been for quite some time until just recently on the weekly, that was like, okay, actually we're still above it. That's a really bullish. If we're at the top of the band and we're pushing higher, it's showing us that there's a lot of momentum pushing like to the bullish side, right? And if we're going to the middle of the Bollinger Band, it means that we're correcting back to where it likes to be. Everything in the market, guys, this is really important. Any strategy, any indicator, they all go back to a place called equilibrium, right? So, you know, if you eat too much food, you have to sit down, your body has to go back to equilibrium. You drink too much water, you start feeling like you're going to, like, you know, or drink too much alcohol, it's easier to think of. You need to go back to equilibrium. So what the most important thing is, all these indicators are going to tell you is when we're kind of getting a little overextended. So I talked about this on the weekly. The RSI was at 95. I said it was really high. You know, I can't remember who was on the show with us, because he uses Chet, right? Chet. So Chet was like, no, man, it's definitely not going to go lower. You know, RSI doesn't matter. But what it does tell me now is that, okay, we were overextended and we're taking a little break. So we're starting to hook back down, which is healthy. Okay, so everything that you use, no matter what indicator, will tell you when we're a little bit overextended and we need to come back. And it's really using support and resistance or momentum. That's basically all the indicators do, all of them. It doesn't matter which ones you use. People have, and I'll tell you one thing I've learned, if you have like 50 indicators on your chart at one time, you're probably not a good trader, because you need too many things to tell you you're doing something right or wrong.
So let's go with the basics. And I think the basics are resistance and support.
Yes, let's do that.
And then the moving averages, because I think that's the basics for any chartist out there. If you're not looking at the moving averages, you got no chance. And if you're not plotting resistance and support levels, then you got no chance. So let's talk about how would you look for resistance and support, and how would you plot moving averages? And I'll tell you why I asked this, Coach. When I go to my chart, and I want to show you this because I'm sure a lot of our viewers are having exactly the same thing. So I'm going to share my screen, and if you look at my screen, you can see that it's offered me, if I want to put in indicators, and I say I want 200-day moving average. And I've got a whole lot of different, I've got the 200-day SMA, I've got the MACD 200-day moving average. Which one do I click? How do I know that I'm looking at the right moving average?
Well, I wouldn't say put in 200-day. I'll show you how to do this in a much, much easier way. What you can do.
I'm going to hand it back to you. So let's get rid of my screen and put your screen back.
Okay, what I want to show you guys as well, if you have all these indicators and you don't really want to see them anymore, all you have to do is go on them and click X, and you can remove them very easily just by Xing them out. So that way you have a nice clean chart again. If those were just something you're trying right now and you're watching, just go exit them so you know that it's easy. So when you go back to here and you want moving averages, just write in, there's a couple kinds. There's the EMA, right? Exponential moving averages. There's DMA.
So which one is the one that when everyone talks about moving averages, which is the one that everyone's talking about?
MA. They're talking. Okay, so there's many different kinds, and all of them pretty much show very similar things. They're showing an average of a certain amount of periods in the candlesticks back, or, you know, certain amount of time. So if it's on the daily, it could be 21 days, it could be 100 days, it could be 200 days, and a moving average, meaning where the price, when it moves, the average of that price. Basically, that's what it means. So, you know, if I'm using just a regular MA, moving average, okay, I go into here. So this is the way you said 200, right? If you want 200, the length is how much time. Okay, so you can go into MA, you can go and click 21, and it will give you the 21 MA. So you see it right here.
What is the 21 MA? Why do you not say 200 MA?
I use several actually. I use the 21, the 100, and the 200. And it's because some are shorter time frames, which give us a little bit of a shorter time frame look, and then a larger time frame will give us a more high time frame. Where's the market going in the longer term? You know, a view into the market that way.
Yeah. So again, moving average is about the momentum of the market, and typically, the better a market goes up for longer would mean that the 200-day would start to move, because what it's doing is it's taking the average of prices over the last 200 days. The shorter ones break first in a bull market and in a bear market, and then as you go much longer, so do the longer ones break.
So I'm going to show you guys how I do it just quickly, so it's really easy. So people say, well, if you use like a couple moving averages, right? How do you? I use EMAs; they just work better for me. So you know, I'll just load up a couple. And wait, was this the wrong one? Sorry. Here we go. This is 200-day EMA. I make this like a red color or a purple color. I just change it. Makes it easier for me to see. But my EMA, hold on a second here.
So you're putting in the exponential moving average.
Yeah, I just find for my personal strategy, it makes more sense. And then what you can do is you color code them. So if I want like the 100-day and the 200-day and the 21-day, so let's say you have like a green, you could turn this one green. I can turn this as like a green color. So green means go, right? And then you can have this color be an orange, for example. So you can make that like, okay, when it's orange, it means maybe we should stop, right? And then you can have this one down here. You could change it and make it red. It actually is red, but make it more red. Here we go. Okay, so I'll just make it a little thicker. So now I have all the moving averages here. Let's put it on the daily to make it look a little bit nicer.
Okay, so now you've got the moving averages. Would you agree with me that the moving averages is probably the first indicator that you look at? So you look at the RSI, that's the relative strength, and then you're looking at the moving averages. You're looking first at the short-term moving averages. So if the 21-day moving average breaks, you look to see if the 50-day moving average breaks. Now, again, for our viewers, what that means is over the past 21 days, is the price lower than the average sentiment in the past 21 days, or 50 days, or 200 days? Typically, people say that when you break below the 200-day moving average, you're in a bear market, because for the last 200 days, the sentiment has been worse than it was 200 days ago.
And you can look at that, right? We can see that. We can go back. This is how you educate yourself a little bit. You're like, all right, what breaks first? Well, this is the 21-day. The 21-day breaks first, right? Then it breaks the 100. Then it breaks the 200. And then once we break below it, look what happens. We go into a full bear market. Then what we'll see is a cross of the 200-day EMA from the 21. And then we start seeing that the market starts to turn, right? So we see that cross, boom. And then once that's above, you see the bull market kind of start again. And we see that.
Tell me what happens when all three cross each other. So when the 200-day and the 50-day and what happens? They call that the golden cross, right?
Yeah, this is a golden cross. So this is like a really bullish signal, which obviously if you look here, you see when this crossed up and then it crossed up again was around here, that was a bull sign. Then it retested this level, and then it just started to take off. And I mean, when you look at the opposite side of things, usually this is too late a lot of the time, to be honest. But when it broke down here, it was already too late. But what I look for is when the 21-day doesn't hold, that's when you usually want to get out of the market, especially if it's a really strong candlestick. Like this one was I think it was a pretty big correction, like 20%. That was like, okay, it's really starting to come down. We've made our high. We've come back up and retested it. And we're going lower. Almost like the head and shoulders we were talking about, actually, because we had the head up here. And this is how you draw, guys. There's a little drawing tool. You have your head and your shoulders. And I can show you how to use the other tools, but we'll do that in a bit because it's too confusing.
I don't want this to get too long. I want to cover one more thing today, and we'll continue with the rest tomorrow. But what I want to know is, if I look at the bottom of your screen, you got a little toolbar which kind of shows you where you can draw. Yeah,
Yes.
bottom of the. Okay, how do you get that toolbar? Because again, when I look at my screen, I don't have that toolbar. Let me quickly share it with our viewers, and let's.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's my screen. How do I get that little toolbar?
Okay, so go to the far left part of your screen. Okay, there's all these different things that you can use. And you see how I have this is that same star. So when you go there, Rand, go to it right now. If you like trend lines, click on the star, and all of a sudden they'll start popping up in this toolbar down here. So, and you can do that with all different tools. You can go in and you know, find fib retracements or fib extensions, or if you use GAN, all this stuff is here. You just click on that star if you use those indicators, and there's a lot, guys. So I know you're probably sitting there right now and going, wow, this is a lot of information and it's a little bit overwhelming. Try to just take the little pieces of setting everything up for now. And we'll go over this again in another video so you can kind of start getting the hang of it. You can choose if you like making rectangles and brushes. So these things you can just throw on this, and you don't have to select them.
Just draw a rectangle first. You press the rectangle, click on the rectangle, and that is typically what the charts show. They show you a range. So just maybe highlight a rectangle area for us.
So let's say we were looking at, okay, if we come and break this range, right? Then I'm just doing this a random one. But yeah, and I would definitely change the color. So when you click on any tools, there'll be a toolbar at the bottom, and you can change the colors of them, because this one's just like way too bright for me. I don't like the color of that. So you're going to find that you'll have things that really work for you and things that don't really work for you. And, you know, you just mess around with the colors and things. You can see if you make them darker or lighter. And it helps you kind of find your
two more very quick questions. You talked about when we break support levels, or we would break all time. Show us on this chart where you would say there is a support level, and how would you know if we break it, or where would you be looking?
Okay, so well, first of all, let's just explain what support and resistance are, because I think it's really important to understand, like, what do these things mean? So support, okay, so think about like when you guys jump on a trampoline, right? What happens? You bounce and you go higher, right? So that's the same thing that we see on the chart. So think about the chart as a trampoline. Like, I know it sounds kind of crazy to think about it that way, but like, where do we keep bouncing and going higher? We can't break below. So we see something like around this level. Is this even showing up? Okay, hold on. I need to change this to be a little bit brighter. Okay, so let me just give me 1 second. All right, so let's make it blue. So as we can see, if we're looking just in this small little range here, we can see that it tried to break below and it kept bouncing and bouncing like a trampoline. And then eventually it broke up. So that was an area of support because it couldn't break it. And this is a daily chart. So we went from like June 1st, 2020, all the way pretty much till July 20th, 2020. We could not break that level. On the other side of it, we have resistance. So think about, you know, a basketball player hitting their head on the top of a rim. So we have levels that we try to get up to and break, but then it's like someone comes and rejects the ball out of your hand, right? Yeah. And you come up again, you try to break it, and someone comes and rejects the ball out of your hand, you fall back down. And eventually you jump so hard and so high off that trampoline, you break through that person, and then you go higher. Now there's two things.
What you said to us in the last show is you said, before you buy the breakout, what you typically do is you'd look for a retest, which is exactly what happens on this chart over here. It's a great chart to look at. Because what happened was it broke through the support. Now, typically what traders would do is that FOMO in. They'd say, oh, the price is going up, but it's beaten the all-time high. What you said is that we should rather wait for it to go back and test the support, which is exactly what it did. Yeah, that's your buying point.
And that's it. And like, well, this is another really important piece. Resistance, which is what this was, it was trying to break above. It turns into support once we break above it. So what you'll see is if I go back really far back, this is not a perfect level, but if I go back, I'll see that in some other times it was either resistance or it acted as support. So we just go and zoom in here. It was resistance over here, and then it acted as support, and it retested right there, and then we went higher. So we see that that is a common trend when you're doing this. And obviously I've done this super quick and I'm not actually doing like a perfect level. I'm just looking at a small range, but you can see that. Now, when I talk about resistance and support, every single strategy that I have uses support and resistance, and all the other strategies you'll see with all the professional traders in the world, they all use, this is the basis of everything. There's traders that don't need anything but resistance and support. I know some, they never use anything but candlesticks and resistance and support. And what happens is we break through. So remember I talked about we slice through a level, we come back and retest that level, and then we go higher, which is what I actually showed you guys in my chart today when I was talking about, let me just see if I can pull it up. I talked about veracity. Veracity has that. If I have to add another indicator here, but if I add in the Ali Ichimoku right here, okay, this is again a level of resistance, which is now going to act as support at the top because we're above it. So we retest the top of that cloud and we'll start to go higher. So these things, like no matter what strategy you see me use or anyone else, that's like the crux of every good trader. They use support and resistance. We break support, then we test it. We break resistance, then we retest it as support. It just flips over and over again, all the way up and then all the way back down.
All right, guys, if you've enjoyed this, I must say I've really enjoyed this. I've learned a hell of a lot. Hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, give us some good comments. Let's get this content out. Coach, that was amazing. I want to try and keep these to around half an hour so people can snack on them afterwards. We got a long way to go, but we've got
there's a lot of content, man. Trading is not something you learn overnight. It's taken me years to kind of find what works for me. And all the friends of mine, I mean, Trader XO was on here just the other day. Like, he's one of my good buddies. And like, we talk about this all the time as traders. Like, we learned over years of like making mistakes, what we actually know now. And, you know, if you feel like this is overwhelming, don't let it overwhelm you. Just try to like learn the basics, learn support and resistance. And that's just all you should try to figure out. Where does it keep touching and coming back down? Where does it keep touching and going back up? That's what you should learn for next week. Literally, if you had one thing to learn, get that nice horizontal line, get it out there, and then figure out, okay, where is it touching and touching, coming back? Where is it acting as a trampoline and pushing and going and holding that level? And if you can start with that, maybe we can have some people on the show next week, Ren, that can be like, am I doing this right? And we can tell them, yeah, actually, you got that right. Or no, you got it wrong, but here's why you actually did it, and here's how you can improve it. So we can maybe help some people for real.
Amazing. Coach K, thank you so much. Guys, pound the like button, pound the subscribe button. We'll let you know when the next episode of this is. This has been amazing. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you again soon. I'm Crypto Man Rant, signing out until tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.